Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Variable Barricade, picking up where we cock-blocked ourselves. I did it to you, I did it to me, it's okay, it's fine. Definitely feel a little better today right now than I did yesterday, let me tell you. That's not saying much, it's like a roller coaster. Anyway, yeah, so we're out on our date with Ichia, and we think this is the confession moment. So anyway. He looked down for a moment, taking a quick, purposeful breath, and then... Spacey, I love you from the bottom of my heart. You're kind and gentle, but you can be measured and stern when the situation calls for it. Please let me be your husband. Oh, okay! Ichia, I'm begging you to be my wife. Ichia looked me in the eye, his words clear and confident. He was more open, sincere, and, frankly, attractive than he'd ever been before. In fact, he looked so dignified that I felt a firm tug at my heartstrings. Yet, no words came out. It wasn't that I was stunned speechless. It wasn't that I was too overwhelmed with happiness to find words. It wasn't any of that. Why? Why can't I just smile and say yes? That had been the perfect confession. I couldn't have asked for anything more of him. Yet something inside me was getting in the way, stopping my hands from reaching for his. Seeing me standing as stiff and frozen as a statue must have made Ichia start to worry. I could see anxiety creep into his expression. Um, Spacey, why aren't you saying anything? I, I, uh... I could hardly explain it when I didn't understand it myself. Wait, my silence didn't help matters at all. I watched his face grow paler and paler as his anxiety doubled and redoubled. Was that not enough? Sad Ichia face. I love it. He's like, that was not enough. It's probably not at all the way he comes across when you're the voice actor, but I just can't help but think of him as just being overly fucking melodramatic, and I goddamn love it. Wait, no, that isn't what I... Are my feelings still not reaching you? Oh, oh, stop! You're tormenting this poor man and this poor CG. He started grasping at straws in desperation. Looks like he's grasping at us. Ichia held me close, his arms quivering. This poor fucking man. I feel so bad for him. I said everything there is to say. I've laid myself bare. I've nothing left to hide from you. The hell is wrong, then? What the hell could possibly be missing? His arms started quivering harder, and his voice rose to a heart-wrenching wail. I only grew more confused. This is the saddest thing. Because it's not even, like, just him being... It's the fact that, like, he's poured his heart and soul and he's totally opened up. He's totally just been completely vulnerable. And we're like, and he's like, God damn it! Because he tried with the suave bullshit and the shenanigans, like, with every other girl, and they always chucked him away. So he's like, alright, I'm gonna just be totally fucking brutal. I'm gonna be honest and open, and I'm just gonna lay myself bare. Here you go. And then, like, you're like, this should work. And it doesn't work. And it's just like, this poor fucking man's like, we have literally just destroyed him. I mean, we'll put him back together. But, like, I mean, Jesus Christ. He's about to fall the fuck apart if we don't get that super glue out. Girl, get the duct tape. He can't hold it together. I mean, there was nothing more that I could want from him. I had no idea what was stopping me. Please, Spacey, tell me. I'm begging you. What do I have to do to make you love me? This hurts so bad, this poor thing. His desperate wail echoed in my ears, and something in me finally reverberated in response. Yeah, desperate wail. Oh, that's what turned. She's like, no, actually, it was, I just needed you to cry. She's as fucked up as the rest of us. Make me love him. Like, I could almost hear the sound bounce around in my head. Whatever piece of my heart had sat askew for so long finally fell into place. No matter how hard I try, nobody loves me. I just want to be loved by anyone. I tried to work for it, to learn how to make people happy so they'd love me. Is it truly you he cares for? Or would he be happy with anyone so long as they feed him the love he's so desperate for? I think that deserves some careful consideration on your part. You shut the fuck up. Get out of here with your stupid mushroom hat. No. I. No, now. For better or worse. Does it have to be me? The question that had been lodged inside me for so long finally exited my mouth. Huh? I felt the arms wrapped around me twitch and stiffen in surprise. But I knew now. I knew what the problem was, and cold as my words were, I couldn't stop them from coming out. I understand how you feel, and I'm honestly very flattered. But I'm not confident I trust your feelings. I knew my words would hurt him immensely. I knew it well. But I owed him the same honesty he'd shown me. And there was no sugarcoating the truth. You sure that you aren't just looking for someone, anyone, to love and accept you? If another woman happened to see you when you're vulnerable and still accept you for it, if she was nicer than me and cared even more than me, you sure you wouldn't pick her instead? That was the unease that had rooted deep inside me. That was what had made me hesitate to take his hand, no matter how much I'd wanted to. Here's the thing about this, though, right? You know he's going to be like, no, it's you. And then we're going to be like, okay, and everything's going to be perfect. But in the real world, in reality, if you are at this moment and you're like, no, and then you have this doubt in your head, like, are you sure it's really me you love and it wouldn't just be anybody? And they're like, no, it's you. The fact that you had that doubt says like you shouldn't go through with this. You know what I mean? Like that doubt is there for a fucking reason. And I would hesitate to be like, are you sure it's me? Yeah, it's absolutely you. Of course they're gonna fucking say that. Put yourself in each of your shoes. I mean, not right now, but like in the real world, you're like desperate for anyone to love you and you find someone, you might think at that moment, yes, no, it has to be you. You're the only one I want. No, you're not. No, they're not. It's just they're there, they're convenient, and if you say those right words, they're going to give you what you want and everything's good until it's not anymore. You know what I mean? Like, this is a very bad situation, and this is not going to lead to an actual happy ending, and it's kind of weird. I I get why they put it in here because it kind of fits with everything that's happened, but it kind of makes me uncomfortable because it's like, yeah, but no, he's gonna say, of course you're the only one that I want, and then you're gonna believe him, and that's bullshit. It's gonna fall the fuck apart because he would take anyone else or anyone who would pay attention to him, and you're falling for bullshit, and you know it because you had this doubt. The second he said these words, you were like, yeah, no, I totally believe you. You were like, I don't know about that. Are you sure? Yeah, totally sure. All right, I guess I'll trust you. You know what I mean? Now, granted, I don't think that would honestly happen in this game because the whole point of this is, we're going to end up with Ichio. But it's just really weird because you put this in there and you're like, I don't know if you should trust him. And that's, you know what I mean? The fact that there's like a flag, doot, 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 don't trust him, girl. Like, in the middle of this fucking perfect moment is like, I don't know. Like, just kind of leaves a bitter taste, you know? It's kind of like, it's okay. I still love Ichio. But like, you're kind of raising some flags, and I don't think you really meant to, you know? Anyway. Then, why does it have to be me? It doesn't really, right? The arms that had clutched at me so desperately slowly went limp and slid away. Ichius staggered one step backward, and I finally saw his expression. It was pure despair. Sorry. I'm scared too. What would happen if I took your hand? If I let you love me, only for you to leave me later? I wanted to trust him. I wanted to reciprocate his feelings. I honestly did. And yet, I couldn't join him as long as those misgivings took up residence in the back of my mind. Gia, please tell me, why does it have to be me? It, it, um, that one doubt could be alleviated, then I was sure I could love him. And that would solve everything. I looked up at Ichia, quietly waiting and praying. He looked back at me, despair seeping deeper and deeper into his features. I waited, but he never gave me an answer. Chill winter air blew through the space between us, sapping the warmth from my heart. That told me our time was done. Our final date had ended on the worst possible note. I mean, he's gonna, like, come in clutch at the very end. Like, and because that's what's this last chapter, you know what I mean? This whole thing, that whole last chapter is gonna be like how Nayuta came in busting heads with the fucking, like, dog costumes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, this is like that last, like, hurrah. That's what's gonna happen here, but I'm guessing we play this one next, so let's see. Yeah. The same familiar pain. Tired of the disaster between Ichi and I, the others give me a piece of their minds. Ooh. Despite the bright chirping of the birds outside, my morning was bleak and dreary. I hadn't slept a wink. Eventually, I heaved my heavy body out of bed. I dressed mechanically as my fuzzy mind wandered. I wonder what Ichi is doing. I didn't have the first clue about how I was supposed to interact with him. Ironically, the usual roles we fell into after one of these awkward debacles were reversed. Miss Spacey, you've slept far past your usual wake-up time. Suga, please, would you leave me be for now? And how long do you plan for now to be? Never, Kasuga, come back to me, don't leave me! Don't listen to her! I flinched. Kasuga was being unusually persistent today. And strict, too. I could hear in his voice that he was not going to permit me to look away from the reality I'd helped create. I think it'd be for the best that you came out of your room as soon as possible, Miss Spacey. It isn't as if staying cooped up will give you the solutions you seek. I know that, Kasuga! I know! It's just... No! She said she knows, Taiga! Did you hear that? Yep, every word. What are those two doing up here? Did Kasuga bring them up? There was no lock on the door from my study room into this bedroom. I had a sinking feeling about who was coming in next. Mr. Yagami, could you please start the countdown? I can do that. 5, 4, 3, 2... Okay, I get it. I'll get dressed. Just wait out there, would you? I had no choice but to wave the white flag at the men huddled outside my door. I hurriedly got dressed and stepped out of my room. What do you chuckle fucks want? Hold on. Kasuga brought fucking backup. Shit. We're in trouble. Hesitantly, I made my way down to the living room. Walking inside, I quickly recognized I'd walked into a court of inquiry, and I was being cross-examined. So yeah, yesterday's date. We don't have to ask how it turned out. Yes, both you and Ichia came home looking like death warmed over, Spacey. So what was wrong with Ichia? I was super sure the two of you would hit a home run this time. If you would, please explain what happened. Did Mr. Mitsumori fail in some fashion? No. They already knew what had happened. There was little point in trying to hide it. I gave in and began to explain everything that had happened last night. I love Kasuka's sus bitch face. There's something in his eyes just like, Like, I don't know. It's such a great expression for so many things. It's fucking Kasuga. Every expression he makes is amazing, and I love it. Whoa. Things were going that well and you cut him off there? Seriously? I had an inkling things weren't going to go well, but I never imagined they'd go so poorly. I don't know much about love, but Ichi's confession sounded pretty cool to me. Do you have any big reasons for saying no to such an awesome, cool confession, Spacey? Oh, yes. I mean... People only get one chance in their life to find true love. Is that what you were gonna say? Tiger rolled his eyes and sighed dramatically. Babe, really? That overly sentimental crap only exists in romance manga. Hey, it existed in this game, so shut your fucking face. No matter how faithful and honest a man is, that's an inhuman standard to live up to. What? Spacey, listen. It might sound a little extreme, but no matter how deeply in love a couple is, there's never really a defined reason why they, specifically, must be together. Even if they believe they were destined to be together, if they search this wide world from corner to corner, they'll find people who look and act just like them. These destined lovers simply happen to meet each other sooner than their doppelgangers did. That's all. And that's exactly it right there. Shion, perfect. Everyone's like, oh, my one true love, there's only one soulmate. No, are you with the billions of people on this planet? Everyone would die alone. Okay? There's not just one fucking person for you out there. Okay? There's not like one destined, considering the fact that you could literally find someone who 100% is like your doppelganger. Like, wow, we are like the same personality-wise. Or my God, we look alike. Or like, oh, wow, our DNA is a little too close. You know what I mean? Like, there's just only so much of everything to go around. So there's no fucking way that everybody is one unique soulmate. You know what I mean? That's bullshit. Doesn't mean that the person you're with isn't your soulmate. But it also, there's not one. You could have a bunch of them. You know what I mean? There are those people that you're like, oh my God, we're such good friends. Your friends can be your soulmate, your family member. You know what I mean? There's just those people that you just click fucking with, right? There's just a clicking, which is weird because I know on the Otome subreddits, there's a thing. It got brought up somewhere about like, oh, why can't we have the best friend routes? Oh my God, I always see there's so much chemistry between the friends. And I'm like, have you never had like an actual perfect best friend before in your life that you just had that connection with? There's a such thing as best friend chemistry, and I feel kind of sad if people are like, when you're playing an Otome game, oh my God, it's just the chemistry between this, like, Spacey here and Tsumugi. Oh my God, the chemistry between them, we should have had a romance route. No, it's a best friend chemistry. It's totally different than romantic chemistry. Now, that's not saying you can't be in love with Tsumugi because she's fucking awesome. But, like, just because there's chemistry between two characters doesn't make it a romance. You know what I mean? And I'm like, have you never had a best friend? Like, because, like, my best friend, now, we barely talked in years, because we've just grown apart, and our ideologies are just vastly different now, because of the way our lives changed when we were young adults and moved to different places and whatever. Like, it just changed, you know? But, like, when we were younger, when we first met at 11 fucking years old, you know what I mean? Just for fucking forever, we were just like inseparable. We were like each other. We were fucking connected. We were soulmates, okay? Not questioning. We had that chemistry where if you slap that in an Otome game, oh my God, we need to do romance. No way in hell would I've ever romanced her, okay? Because it's not the way it was like, oh, that's weird. Because we were just that close as friends. It was a friend soulmate, friend chemistry. And I'm like, and that's, you know, slightly off tangent, but it's kind of like one of those, like, there's such a thing as like friend chemistry, that chemistry that's just so strong and intense but there's no romance there. And that can absolutely be the same thing with like soulmates. This person is another half of my soul, but it's not like the only half of your soul, okay? You know what I mean? This is not Olympia Soiree, okay? This is not like there's only one true love. Because we saw in that game, there is not one true love. There's a lot of them. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, like, yeah, the idea, oh, there's only one true love. That's nice and romantic, but it's bullshit. In reality, like, there's so many people that you could connect with. And then there's people that you could be with and you're totally happy and spend the rest of your life with them. And yeah, there may be somebody else that you meet and you're like, they would have been better. But like, I'm with this person and I'm totally happy. But you know logically in your mind, someone else would have been a better match for you. But it's just, it is the way, you know what I mean? But you're not going to trade the person you're with for anybody else because you've developed a stronger bond through getting to know each other and going through those hurdles and everything like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, point being, there's not one fucking true love out there. You could call them, it's my one true love. It's the person I'm going to grow old and die with. I mean, that's cute. But you know, theoretically in the back of your mind, like, there's probably 5,000 other people out there. And that's just like, that are absolutely 100% perfect matches. And this person's like a 50. But like, you know. But, you know, it's about the times you share, too, and the bond you create, not just the one you have right away. So, anyway, that's my spiel. And 15 different tangents. None of it made any sense. Sorta. Anyway. Whatever. You get the point. Shion's right. Not one true love. Could find a bazillion Ichiyas out there. That's amazing, actually. I'm very excited about that. Does that mean I can have a Kasuga, too? Oh. It wasn't that I didn't get what they were trying to say, but that only made it more difficult to get past the fear I felt. Just happening to meet someone sooner. That was the only reason he wanted me, then who could say there wouldn't come someone else later on? Who could say he wouldn't fall for them? Because that's, again, the thing. There might be somebody, like, you might be like a 90%, and that person's 100. But if he's with you now, and then 2 days later he meets that 100, ooh, okay. questionable. But, like, you decide, yeah, we're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. You form your relationship and you have this bond, and then you start building it up. And then even though that perfect 100 comes along, it's not going to pull them away because the bond you created, even though you were starting lower, you know what I mean, at a lower match rate, is just so much more intense than that 100 could ever, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe if I start over with that 100, it'll be better, but, like, no, I'm here and this is what makes me happy and I'm not going to leave that, you know? But, I mean, I absolutely get her, like, fear of, like, well, he could just piece up. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. So I just completely flip-flopped on the whole situation, right? But, I mean, it's one of those, like, but you have those doubts, and then do you go against them? In reality, you shouldn't go against these giant doubts. I mean, I guess you got to consider them. Okay, stop and think, why do I have these doubts? Is it just this? Is it a fear? Blah, blah, blah. You know what? No, it's just me being crazy. Okay, cool. Or, no, I still can't get over this. It's freaking me out. Then don't go do it, you know? You have to trust yourself sometimes. Sometimes. Not all the time. You can't be trusted. Nobody can be trusted 100% of the time. I'm just saying. The thought of choosing someone only to have them leave me someday, it scares me. Well, Kazuya would kind of emotionally leave you. Well, he would never emotionally have been there, so I guess. I fell silent. Mayuta blinked at me, then squinched up his face in confusion and asked, "No, speaking of that, I'm really curious now. You asked Ichiya why it had to be you. What about you? Do you have a reason why it had to be Ichiya and nobody else, Spacey?" Huh? You want to know his reason for choosing you, right? If that was your requirement for getting together, I thought for sure you had your reasons and were all ready to tell him. Mayuta's question was simple, but it made my thoughts come to a screeching halt. Uh-huh. Seems like the thought never even crossed your mind, eh? Hey, babe, you realize that's a titch hypocritical, don't you? He was exactly right. The reason it has to be Ichiya for me and not anyone else, that's different from my reasons for falling for him. I could list off the things I liked about him, but as for a reason why he had to be my choice, did I really ask Ichiya to answer a question that I couldn't answer myself? It only then started to dawn on me that I'd cruelly dumped an unanswerable question on Ichiya. I imagine I started to look as desperate as he'd looked last night. I started quivering. The others looked at me. I could see sympathy in their eyes. Miss Spacey, there's little point in overthinking that which has already happened. A spilled milk cannot be returned to its cup. That's not true. I mean, if you tip the table, you get some of it back in it. Wipe it up with a fucking paper towel and squeeze some back in. Not all of it, but you get some of it back in there. Anything to make Kasuga mad. Because I want him to glare at me a little. Look, I like it when Ichiya cries, and I like it when Kasuga gets mad at me, okay? Look. I don't know. Have you still see some hope in him? Well, let's look back and reorganize your thoughts, all right? Kasuga quickly took control of the situation before gloom could overwhelm the room's atmosphere. I don't like that you're into this. Like, Kasuga, I liked it better in the very beginning rounds where he was like, fuck this shit. And he was kind of like was not having any of fucking Nayuta's bullshit. He wasn't having fucking Shion shit. And then all of a sudden Taiga, he's like, yeah, no, Taiga's pretty cool. You know what? Let's work on Ichiya. What? How dare you? How dare you, sir? You're supposed to hate all of them because you want to be with me. Stop ruining my fantasy. Game's never going to give me an inch, is it? Now that we're done with lectures, with explanations, I presume things are a little clearer. If so, answer this. Do you believe you're capable of loving Mr. Mitsumori? It was starting to sink into me that I did, in fact, probably love Ichiya. I knew that if I could just say yes to his confession, then all my problems would be solved. But the ball of fear in my chest wouldn't loosen. Unable to handle my rising torrent of emotions, I simply sat, confused, biting down on my lip. Oh. Ichiya! All of a sudden, the man of the hour walked in. Ichiya's eyes slipped away from mine in obvious, awkward discomfort. I'm headed out. Sorry, but you're going to have to fend for yourselves for dinner tonight. Whoa, Ichiya! Taiga tried to stop him, but Ichiya didn't pay any attention. He turned and left without another word. Heavy silence settled across the room. I turned down Ichiya's heartfelt confession, I had no right to say anything against him leaving, and yet I couldn't deny the shock I felt when he turned his back on me. Night fell and Ichio was still gone. What am I supposed to do now? I was sure that the others were exasperated with me for rejecting Ichio after all we'd been through. Anyone would feel the same way. It wasn't as if he'd done anything wrong. It was all on me because I couldn't let myself trust his feelings for me. I was weak because I was afraid of a future where he might leave me, so I hesitated to make that final commitment. I said he was weak and had a bad habit of running from his problems. It's true for me, too. I apologized to Ichia. He deserves that much. But I hadn't the first idea how he would respond. In the worst case, he would finally be done with my indecisiveness, and he'd leave me for good. And yet, I can't just ignore him when he's hurt. I thought it over, then took out my phone to send him a whisk message. But right then...
It's me, miss. May I come in?
Suga? Oh, yes, you may. He walked into my room. He, too, was holding his phone. When he realized I was holding mine, he sighed and looked at me.
Mr. Mitsumori has gotten in touch with me. He informs me that he'll be formally moving out of the house.
I could barely believe what I heard. What? Suga, what are you talking about? This isn't a good time for jokes. I was just about to...
That's no joke. And it'll not do you any good to try and get in touch with Mr. Mitsumori anymore. You can't. I'm told that in order to prevent himself from even trying to contact us again, he's thrown out his old phone and purchased a new one.
What? No, he wouldn't have... I got a new phone too, but I just transferred my number. I hurriedly brought up Ichia's number from my contacts and pressed call. There was no answer. There wasn't even a ring. Still unwilling to believe it, I tried to send a whisk message, but I was blocked. The message failed to send. That hurts. Oh. Why? I stared at my phone in confusion. Kasuga was blunt.
Yeah. Considering his earnest confession was rejected, this seems like a natural conclusion, doesn't it? After all, you snipped his last thread of hope yourself, Miss Spacey.
Look at how mad Kasuga is about this! I don't want you to be mad because we heard Ichio, but I want you to be mad at me because I like it when you're mad at me, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it. I fell silent under my realization of just how deeply I must have hurt him. All I wanted was to apologize to him, but it looked like I wouldn't even get to do that.
The way you look right now puts me in mind of the way you were when you were little. You look like someone who's lost everything that was precious to them.
Kasuga had known me since I was a little child. He might know why I couldn't bring myself to reach out to Ichia. I looked at him, my confusion plain. He said,
As long as you cannot understand what it is that you truly want, you'll simply revert to the way you were before you met me.
Before I met him. Before I could ask for clarification, he bowed and walked out of my room. He didn't attempt to console me. He didn't lecture me over my incompetence. Tsuga simply spoke as if he was admonishing a clueless child. But there was something in what he said that was worthy of reflecting upon. I began to think. I'd been 5 years old when I was taken in by the Tojo family. Grandfather was so busy that I rarely had time to meet with him. The few moments we did have together were always tense. Servants who looked after me either treated me like I was made of glass or they attempted to curry favor. Having no one I could trust, I instead stifled my emotions so no one could hurt me further. The only moments of joy were the rare occasions when grandmother's personal chef, Sumiko, would make meals for me. No matter how much I enjoyed those meals, I never asked to have her cook for me. She was grandmother's chef, not mine. Even at that young age, I knew that she would never be someone just for me. But then, when I was 9, I met Kasuga. That was the day that I finally found somebody who was mine alone. Right? Okay, right here! How dare you, game? Kasuga is mine alone. Yeah, can't I just marry fucking Kasuga? Hello? It's just, hello? I just don't understand. This is just ridiculous. I mean, if we're going to go down the route where I'm basically going to be traded away as a business deal, then I don't think it's wrong that you gave me a butler that is like, oh, okay, he's my future husband, right? He's mine to keep? He's mine. We're going to treat Kasuga like a personal possession. Well, what the hell? Fine. I'm okay with that. Then let me marry the man. It'd be perfect. Just saying. Damn it, Gabe, just let me marry Kasuga. At first I was certain Kasuga would leave me one day, though he insisted he wouldn't, but all the other servants who'd care for me had eventually left. So I rebelled against him. I ignored him and acted out, never trying to get to know what he was like. After a certain event one day, I finally opened my heart to him. See, this is supposed to be Ichigo's route, and I'm falling more in love with fucking Kasuga. Stop it! Don't stop it, actually. I love it. But even if, like, the finale route is, like, we're gonna be the independent freaking Tojo woman, like, fuck that shit, I'm never marrying anyone, can I at least just pretend that I have a sexy fucking side romance with my goddamn butler behind the scenes? Because, like, that's all I'm asking for. I just want Kasuga, okay? Just wanna... That's all. That's it. I took the hand he held out to me and made the effort to get to know him better. I don't care if he's our fucking brother. He's not our twin because, like, he's several years older than us. But I don't care if he's my fucking brother or my cousin or whatever. I don't give a shit anymore, okay? I don't. These games have done enough. We're basically been like, whatever, I'm dating my fam. I don't care. We've fallen down the fucking debauchery slide, okay? We in the fucking the debauchery freaking lagoon, okay? Debauchery Lagoon, I'm here, I'm drowning in it, I'm fine with it, it's cool, let's go get Kasuga, I don't care. I'm just preparing. They're gonna do something and be like, this is why you can't take Kasuga. Fuck that, yes I can. That's not gonna stop me. That sign can't stop me because I can't read. I took the hand he held out to me and made the effort to get to know him better. I don't know if I read that. It's true circumstances have given me good reason to close him off, but why had I decided to let him in after wrapping myself in solitude for so long? Well, because I was so lonely I just couldn't take it anymore. Thinking back on it, maybe anyone in my position would have done the same thing. Even if it had been someone besides Kasuga who approached me and said things that needled all the way down to the center of my heart, maybe I would have opened up to them too. Really, he simply happened to meet me first. I was starting to understand. Kasuga had given me a hint, and I think I knew why. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, thinking on Ichiya. He had experienced loneliness and solitude much like my own while growing up. Ichiya had been a black sheep. He told me himself that to escape his crushing loneliness, he turned to women and tried to carve out a place to belong with them. But even through all that, he never found someone who would stand by him. Even the lady he said he thought about marrying had rejected the idea of being his one and only. How desperately lonely did that rejection make him feel? It had probably been overwhelming. It's just like me. It didn't matter who offered love, just as long as the promise was there. As long as someone made that promise to him, promised him a place to belong, he might not need me. But you smiled at me and accepted me for who I am, even when my own family rejected me. You said that you liked me for myself. No one had ever said that or done that for him before. I was the first who'd given that to him. Spacey, I love you from the bottom of my heart. You're kind and gentle, but you can be measured and stern when the situation calls for it. He knew just as well as I did, not more, how much courage it took to offer yourself to someone and ask that they take your hand. I'm begging you to be my wife. Please, please let me be your husband. Could have chosen anyone, yes, but when he decides a particular person is the one for him, then he swears that he'll love and care for that person and never let them go. He'd never betray the person who had pulled me up from the depths of loneliness. It simply wasn't possible. What about Ichiya? How could I say that he'd be any different? If I did, wouldn't that be the same as denying everything about myself, too? Anyway, Suga always knows exactly what to say. Why we should be marrying him. I thought back on Ichiya's blank expression and suddenly had to fight the urge to cry. I know my answer now. All that's left is to find my courage. I knew that was easier said than done. Even knowing my answer, I still wasn't confident that I had what it took to push past my fear of abandonment. What's more, Ichiya had already left. If I could see him again, what could I say? What do I need to do if I want to see him again? There was so much more I needed to think about. Well, here's the thing. Doesn't he have to get his shit? Or did he already, sneak out, pack his shit when no one was looking?
I've supplied the bare minimum necessary information. If this doesn't change things, then I suppose there's nothing more to be done beyond accepting that this was her fate.
Kasuga! You always know what to do to tell me. I mean, whatever, you know what I mean. The will to give up everything. Stuck between love for me and a fear of rejection, Ichiya goes to vent his anger at Kazuya. Oh. This is gonna be good. Does it have to be me? And that one phrase stuck a... Yeah, stuck. That one phrase stuck a dagger in my heart. Are you sure that you aren't just looking for someone, anyone to love and accept you? I had no idea what she was saying to me. If another woman happened to see you when you were vulnerable and still accept you for it, did she say that? If she was nicer than me and cared even more than me, could do that. You sure you wouldn't pick her instead? That would never happen. Then why does it have to be me? It doesn't really, right? And what could possibly make her think like that? I couldn't get a wink of sleep. I hoped I was just dreaming. I prayed I was in a nightmare I could wake up from. But what happened last night wasn't something I could just wake up from and put behind me. I just don't know. Thought and thought about it, but I just don't know what answer she wants. The dreaded why me question had come up in my relationships more than once. I love you because you're you. Our love doesn't mean anything if it's not you. Because you're destined to be the one for me. I'd answer something along those lines and they had always been satisfied to hear it. Many destined lovers have I found at this point. Ugh, just thinking about it makes me feel like a moron. Such an idiot. But that's how it feels, you know what I mean? And, like, when you're actually in the heat of the moment, or in that, like, love peak in all your relationships, you feel that way. And, that, you know, you should. It doesn't mean it's gonna last, but, like, you shouldn't be in a relationship and be like, nah, I mean, I guess this is good enough for now, but we're not gonna get married. This isn't destined to be together. We're just, you know, this is just for nows. I mean, I guess that's okay. Like, if you just, you know, that's all you're looking for. It's just for now. It's casual. But, like, when you're in love with someone, you should feel like it's destined. You're the only one for me. You know? Again, not saying it's always going to last, but how sad would it be if you're like, I mean, I guess this is alright for now. You know? I mean, I think we've all done things like that. You know, you're always going to have that relationship where you're like, this is good enough. And then you're like, yeah, you know, I was doing it because it was just there at the time, and I guess that was not the smartest thing to do, but, like, you shouldn't feel that way about all your relationships. Anyway, but that had always been the right answer. Yeah, at the time. Many women wanted to be absolutely certain they were their lover's one and only. At first I made painfully sure to treat their question with the utmost sincerity, hunting for exactly the right words to put them at ease. I mean, I feel like anybody wants to be their lover's one and only, man or woman. Look, unless monogamy isn't your thing, and then that's perfectly fine, but, like, then you don't get into a relationship with someone who wants to be monogamous. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But monogamous people kind of only want you to be their one and only, so it's not just a woman thing, is all I'm saying. When I gradually realized they were looking for actions, not just words, I learned an immediate hug would wipe their budding worries. Dismissing their concerns as baseless or taking too long to find words never yielded positive results. When the question came up, I simply gave them a reassuring smile and wrapped my arms around them. And then I whispered sweet nothings in their ear and the problem vanished. That would work on me. You are mine alone. You are the keeper of my heart. You are more precious to me than all the gemstones in the world, and other schlocky come-ons. I mean, I know he's full of shit, but I would definitely fall for that. I'd be like, oh, this is great. But you know you're full of fucking shit, Ichiya. And then he'd cry and everything would be great. I'm just saying. Look, our relationship is weird, but we're all here for it, ain't we? Most women's fears were settled by my crooning. Yet, couldn't say anything. The look in Spacey's eyes. Ichiya, please tell me, why does it have to be me? It was a look unlike any I'd ever received from a woman. She wasn't asking to be spoiled. She wasn't trying to tease me. It wasn't a test. It was just pure want. Want for proof. A want for a reason. A want for a guarantee for the future. That's what she wanted, and that's why I hesitated. I'd given her the same empty platitudes I'd used on my girlfriends, it would have been over then and there. And that way, keeping it quiet was probably the best idea. But by not answering, I'd also caused Spacey to lose faith in me. And that was undeniable. I wonder what she's doing right now. And last night, neither of us said a word on the long trip back home. I'd gone straight to my room when we'd gotten back, so I had no idea what she'd done. But I was sure she was hurt. I didn't need anyone to spell that out for me. What do I do now? Should I go see her right away and try to patch things up? But how? Or what could I say to her when I didn't have the answers she wanted to hear? And if she denied me again? Can't. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I just can't. Approaching her right now would be... I can't do it. But see, this is sad because it's like, you understand, like, she basically pushed him away one too many times, so, you know, good on him for being like, alright, you said no, and I'm just gonna take that and run away. But at the same time, he's running away again. You know what I mean? And in a way, it's kind of like, yeah, she taught him to do, like, she basically told him to do that. Like, nope, why does it have to be me? But she asked you a question, and, like, in a way, going back and being like, look, I can't give you the answer that you want. I could tell you a bunch of cheesy fucking shit, and that's not exactly what you want to hear, but I just know that it is you, and you'd have to trust me, and if you can't trust me, that's fine, but this is it. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. Like, you're not going to be able to say exactly what she wants to hear. You're just going to have to straight up say, you know, again. But at the same time, but instead he's going to run away. So that's bad. But at the same time, he's poured his heart out a million times over and over to us, and we've pushed him away every time. So, like, even though you want to be like, oh, he should just one more time, just go up and tell her it has to be you and I know it's you, blah, 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 and answer the question, don't run away. He's poured his heart out over and over, and she keeps pushing, so at some point, you've just got to fucking quit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, sometimes no means no. No always means no, but you know what I mean? Like, we're not, it's always, she has never said no. It's always like, I mean, give me a minute. But she keeps doing that, and at some point you're like, you know what? I've given you enough minutes, and for the sake of my own sanity and my own self-respect, I gotta peace out. You know what I mean? You can't always be on somebody's hook, right? And, like, we've hurt Ichigo one too many times, so it's not... I mean, it's understandable why he's running away. You don't want him to, because, like, it's bad. It's like, it's bad that you're running away, Ichigo. You're just gonna run away instead of confronting this, but at the same time, you've confronted this so many times that, like, you know, you have to run away for your own sanity. You know what I mean? You can't keep chasing someone who keeps pushing you away, you know? So it's like, it's right of you to run away, but it's so wrong at the same time. It's like, it's like a no-win situation for him right now. My phone started to jingle. I reached for it and looked at the caller ID.
Taiga Nayuta just went to pry Spacey out of her room. A discussion will follow. I'd like to think it's your turn next.
When this rabble comes up with the most violent and dangerous solutions to problems, and the image of Shion's thin smile popped up in my mind. This was a threat. Ugh, please don't. I really don't want to be around her like this. Not right now. But when that lot pledged to do something, they always went through with it. I'd learned that once already. Now I know. And they were just worried for me in their own way. I wasn't so blind that I couldn't see their concern. Staying cooped up in my room didn't solve anything. I didn't have the time to waste either. Tired of getting down on my knees and kissing the floor, begging for her heart. See, it's this right here. You know what I mean? Like, we gave him a simple question, expecting it to be, we gave him an impossible question, right? And he could just be like, look, you just have to trust me that it's you and it's only ever going to be you. And that's up to us to trust him. But this is exactly it. We've forced him to basically, like, beg us constantly, follow us around, and, like, we've constantly shooting him down. So it's like, I can't blame him for running. If it was going to become impossible to avoid her, I'd almost rather move out straight away. Despite the urgency of my thoughts, it was still a while before I could muster up the energy to do anything. After hesitating for a long time, I finally gave in and made my way to the living room, where everyone was waiting for me. Oh. Ichiya! The second I stepped into the room, my eyes met Spacey's. Almost immediately. Ichiya, please tell me. And then I ran. I wrenched my eyes away from her. Wouldn't be here. Not when she was here. I'm headed out. Sorry, but you're going to have to fend for yourselves for dinner tonight. Whoa, Ichiya! I was scared. I love it when you're scared and sad. You're so precious. Really scared and terrified. You know, that actually sums up my life right about now, I'm not gonna lie. I just can't. I understand in my mind that it's fine, but I just can't look at Spacey right now. I dashed back to my room, got changed, and left. And the whole time I hated myself for being so pathetic. I always chose to run away in the end. I mean, we didn't really give you much of a choice here, did we, though? Kind of pushed this on you. You know? There was a strong possibility I'd never be able to drag myself back to the house. But even with that possibility gnawing at the back of my mind, I still hit the gas. It's all over, isn't it? Everything. Kazuya's plan had worked, and the deadline was looming and we didn't have much time left. And that's why I'd gathered up every ounce of my courage to confess to her. But it didn't work. I drove through town, which was decorated for Christmas. The bright lights and tinsel somehow seemed menacing. Only I had more time. Just a little more time. And no, of course Kazuya had to butt in and mess things up. I knew I was just unloading on him. But everything was a disaster, and the only person whom I could project my resentment was him. On whom I could project my resentment, sorry. And part of me was clearly getting beyond desperate. I mean, coming to see him of all people. Well, well, an unexpected guest. Oops, hit the wrong button. Kazuya. I'm technically on the clock right now, you know. I'd rather not waste much time on personal matters, so make this quick. He was as calm and collected as always. My sudden visit didn't shake him at all. His laconic reaction stoked my feelings of guilt and inferiority that much higher. That was unfair, Kazuya! The exclamation slipped from my mouth before I knew it. Unfair? What was unfair? Don't play innocent with me! You know what I mean! Christmas Eve! You said this would be a fair fight, but then you snared her by manipulating the opinions of the Tojo branch families and the media. I didn't bother hiding how upset I was. Kazuya just rolled his eyes and sighed. You know what the best part about this is, though? Like, Ichi's feeling horrible, he's going up. Kazuya like, how fucking dare you, you bastard! And Kazuya's like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna get her in the end, and it's like, no you ain't. No you fucking ain't! I love it! Sad sack to the rescue! Captain Sad Pants. Fucking Ichi over here. Captain cries a lot. Listen, I love Captain Cries a lot, okay? He's my new favorite superhero. Super villain suit over here, too. Just, I like it when he's angry looking in his suit. Anyway. And there's nothing crooked about taking the best course of action to reach one's goals. Besides, you of all people would know what kind of tactics I use in this instance. Don't tell me you didn't prepare any countermeasures. Well, that aside, I have no idea what in the world this is all about. What did you come here to accomplish? Hell if I knew! She was like, I don't know! I just wanted to yell! I just hurt a lot, and I had nowhere else to vent. Oh, and this all his fault anyway? I stood there speechless, my shoulders heaving. After a moment, Kazuya looked up at the ceiling and thought, I mean, the thing is like, this is not like, ah ha ha, I'm gonna steal your girlfriend, frickin' Ichiya, right? Or like, I'm gonna, like, Kazuya's looking at this like, haha, I'm getting this business deal. It's like they're in business, and they're going after the same business deal, And Ichiya's like, well, I'm going to sweeten the pot and tell them I'm going to pay them this much and blah, blah, blah. And Ichiya's like, damn it, my firm can't cough up that much money. That's basically what this fucking is. But it's just, me, I'm the business deal, and I don't appreciate being bartered like this. Ichiya's like, I'm just trying to get her to fall in love with me, and Kazuya's over there like, no, I'm just going to straight up buy her from somebody. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of bullshit. I mean, her grandfather was like, dude, bitch, I tried. But what we should go to our grandfather is be like, no, but, oh, you know what's going to happen. Oh, God, I see it. Okay. So it's going to be like, when we were at the party, right? And we're in love with Nayuta. And then the grandfather was like, our fiance's Nayuta. And we're like, wait, what? Eh? I mean, you knew it was coming, but you're still like, she's like, oh, what? You know? That's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be at this party thing, Christmas Eve, blah, blah, blah. Kazu's going to be over there like, they're going to announce that she's going to be my wife, blah, blah, blah. And our grandfather's going to be like, yeah, I'm announcing her engagement to Ichiya. Woo, yeah, let's hear it for Ichiya. And then Ichiya's going to be like, what? And we're going to be like, huh? Yay! And everything's going to be perfect. That's exactly what's going to motherfucking happen. Maybe after Ichiya, like, busts in and throws down and has some kind of fucking dramatic fit. I really hope he gives an over-dramatic fucking speech and shit. Comes in a little angry and then turns into a kind of slightly sad sack mess at the end with some, like, fucking tons of melodramatic, cheesy kind of lines and shit like that. Just pouring out his heart. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, it's a little sad and strange and a little awkward, but it's kind of cute and it's sad, but it's adorable. I don't know. You know what I mean? So melodramatic. Yeah. That whole thing. That's my prediction. Here you go. Kazuya looked up at the ceiling and thought, did I read that? I don't know anyway. And then a light bulb flicked on in his head and he said the worst possible thing. Don't tell me Spacey officially turned you down. The words stabbed into me like hot daggers and I flinched. A movement the ever-observant Kazuya didn't miss. He knew he'd hit the mark. He wasn't completely heartless, though. A conflicted look crossed his face and he fell silent. But when he looked back up at me, his eyes were full of disappointment. Ah, I see. So you came here on a load, so you're dumping the blame on my back. I mean, it is your fault. Oh, but when you give me that fucking angry look, it's hot. Honestly, that habit you could really stand to fix. No, and that's not why I came here. Actually, it absolutely is, because it's all your fault! Kind of is actually all your fault, just FYI. Well, it's half his fault and half our family, so... You know what, it's like 80% your fault, Kazuya. 80%. Don't try to deny it. The only way you know how to deal with your problems is to run from them. True. How dare you hit me with the truth? Hang on. Anyway. Whenever we wanted the same things, you'd never put up a fight. You just give it to me and settle for something else. But the other day, when you actually stood up for what you wanted and picked a fight with me, I have to admit I was almost impressed. Were you slightly turned on? Because I was. I mean, I know he's your brother, but like, whatever. But in the end, here we are. I was a fool for even getting my hopes up about you. Aw, poor Ichiya! He's already a sad puddle on the floor. Why you keep stomping on him? Playing in sad puddles is fun, though, right? And then they get sadder. This is just, I mean, I can't imagine him not busting into the fucking engagement party and being, like, angry and crying and, like, flipping back and forth. And I just want to see it happen. It's going to be like, wow, he has got some problems, this guy. But, like, I'm here for it. I love it. I love sad Ichi. He's so beautiful. Every time someone kicks him when he's down, I'm just like, oh, I love it. What is wrong with me? Oh, there's a lot of things wrong with me, but this is a whole new one. It's my brain aneurysm. I don't know. And Kazuya's criticism was harsh, but I couldn't say a word against it. He was entirely correct. Now, is everything out of your system? Please leave. There's much to be done before the Christmas Eve party. I have a lot of work to do. He wasn't even looking at me anymore. Unlike you, Ichiya. There was nothing left to do but shuffle out of his office. I was the most miserable man on the planet. That's not even melodramatic. That's kind of true right now. Bad. My feet carried me out of the building and along the streets. My mind was lost in a fog. It was like I'd gone back to those depressing days after I'd been adopted by the Mitsumori family, when I couldn't muster the energy to do anything. This was supposed to be my one last chance to push past the emptiness in me. Look at how sad he is. Open, I love it. Stop it. Sad Ichia is best eat. I can't handle it. Like, I love cheesy Ichia. I really do. I loved him in the very beginning. Like, cheese ball. I love it. It's great. He's corny and cheesy and full of shit. And then he gets here and sad, and you're like, I love this 10 times more. Like, I really do. I don't know what's wrong with me. Look at his sad face. They just drew him so beautiful. They're like, we gotta make him like a bazillion times more beautiful when he's sad and looks like he's about to just curl up and cry. Oh, I love it. I thought I'd finally found the one person who I really loved, and who would love me back. This wasn't the first time I'd been turned down, but this was definitely the first time I'd felt so heartsick over it. Oh. The other girls had all looked guilty about having to let me go, and I'd had enough emotional confidence to smile and tell them not to worry about me. I even had it in me to say I hoped they'd find happiness with their new boyfriend. But that's, oh my god, poor Ichio. Wait, it's not even like, yeah, this isn't working for me. Okay, peace out. I'm gonna go be single. It's like, yeah, this isn't working for me. I met Todd, and I like Todd better. They actually, like, it just makes it sound like they all dumped him for someone else. Like, I mean, sometimes that happens, but every time, Ichia, oh, sweetie, no, you need a therapist. You need like a team of therapists. I don't even think a couple is gonna do it. You need like a whole fucking fleet. Shit. But now I wasn't sure I could bounce back. My chest felt like it was being squeezed to a pulp. My head throbbed dully. I felt dizzy. It was hard to breathe. I love you so much. And just thinking how it could all be over now hurts so badly. I feel like I'm dying. Yeah, that's why I prefer to stay single. Because, like, when you fall in love with someone and you're actually happy, and then they dump your ass or whatever, and then this feeling happens, and it's just the worst. So you're like, to never have to go through that again, I'll just die alone. It's fine. I've already prepared myself for it. Do I want to die alone? No. But do I want to go through this again? No. Also, no. So, like, it's the hell you know. I'm used to being alone. I can handle that. I hate that feeling. Why sometimes it takes me a long time and I watch Yuri on Ice and then I kind of stop and I don't ever finish it because when I finish it, it feels like someone broke up with me. The first time I fucking watched Yuri on Ice and I finished it, fuck, I was so sad for like 2 days. I was walking around my apartment like, what do I do now? I just feel like someone ripped my heart out because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The love story is just so perfect. Everything about it, it gets you and you don't realize and then it ends and you're like, I miss it. It's like you were here and now you're gone, and you could just rewatch it, but you just have to kind of like wallow in that sadness. It's not as bad the second time I watched it. I'm not actually sure I finished it the second time, to be honest with you. And I was making a friend of mine watch it with me. It's been a while, but it's like one of those like you watch a couple episodes, you do this, and you don't quite get to the end, and then you kind of just don't watch it. So then you have to start over, and you just never fully finish it because when you finish it, you just feel sad. And it's not like when you finish any other anime and you're like, "Aw, it's okay, I'll just start over," because you're just into it. You just want to watch fucking Black Butler and fucking like repeat for a couple months, or like freaking Bungo Stray Dogs, where you're like, I just watch it, whatever. Like, it ends and you're like, ah, okay. It's not like Yuri on Ice just like freaking end, and the way it ends, and it's just so beautiful, and you're so happy, and you're like, I feel loved right now, and then it ends, and it's so depressing and sad, and it kind of gives you like a vague feeling like this. Yeah, no, it wasn't fun. Fucking love it though. I love it, but I hate the way it makes me feel when it's over. I have problems. Anyway. All of a sudden, I realized people were staring. No surprise, the sight of a man wandering zombie-like through the midday streets would indeed attract gawkers. And some of the onlookers were women. Women whose eyes lit up with obvious interest. Yeah, because you're hot and sad. I should get back to my car. I wanted nothing to do with any woman besides her. Eventually, I reached my car. I opened the door and slid down into the driver's seat when... the tears started to fall and I couldn't stop them. Ah! My favorite Ichia, but sad one, that's crying. Felt so incredibly miserable, kind of funny in a twisted way. I guess in the end, my only real talents were running and crying. Spacey. 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 Look at him, he's actually crying, Ichia. I really, really love you. I know, but I just like making you cry, Ichi. I'm sorry. And why couldn't I get that across to her? Because I'm kind of stupid. The reason why it had to be her and no one else. The fact she wanted to know that she suggested. Oh, fact she wanted to know. Oh, the fact she wanted to know that suggested she still had her doubts. I can't read. She couldn't confidently believe that I wouldn't someday let my heart be stolen by some other woman. And not that that would ever really happen. But it was what I'd done in my life that made her think that. The choices I'd made, the things I'd said, the weakness I couldn't overcome. I'm gonna have to go a little over because I want to finish this a little bit. The other girls you dated, did you let them make all the decisions too? Please, tell me who you came here with before. Did you tell her the same things you told me? The city lights and stars pale in comparison? Nice, yeah. She's different from any other woman I've known. I can say that for sure. But I don't know how to prove it to her. On that night I labeled our last date, I admitted my love as plainly as possible. It was the first time in my life I'd ever been so open and honest. My confession had tumbled from me in clumsy, halting words. It wasn't exactly the coolest moment of my life, but those words were the best I could manage. And they didn't reach her. They weren't enough to make her believe me. If they weren't, what else could I say? What else could I give that would make her believe me? How could I make her understand how much I loved her? Just don't know. Just gonna lose to Kazuya again, aren't I? It was stupid for someone as pathetic as me to ever believe I could protect Spacey's heart. I can't. I didn't take a breath when I read that sentence, I'm sorry. I want to marry for love. The moment I gave up was the moment that Spacey's future was set in stone. What value was there in a man who knew something like that, but still couldn't bring himself to act? My phone buzzed where it sat on my dashboard. Was it Shion and the others, or Spacey? No, couldn't be. And terrified of which name I'd see, my trembling hand reached out and grabbed the phone.
We've heard the situation. Pardon me for interrupting your moment of agonizing heartbreak, but clarify your position.
I fucking Kasuga! Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt your sobbing in your car, but... Position? The message was short, businesslike, classic Kasuga, and my face froze. I made myself read on.
If you're giving up on pursuing Spacey, tell me as soon as you can. She'll need time to prepare herself before she's shackled to a loveless marriage.
Kasuga's not pulling any punches! That's why I want to marry this man so hard. It was blunt. Too blunt. Yes, it was something that Kasuga, who always put his mistress first, would say, but it actually managed to bring my unraveling nerves back under control. This isn't like him. Not really. I couldn't deny it was something he would say. But would he really go out of his way to get approval from a man he regarded as a runaway coward? Why did he send me this? I stared at the screen, thinking. After a moment, I felt a surge of courage and typed a reply. If I say I'm not giving up. It was a gamble of sorts. I love this. This is exactly because he's like, oh, he's moving out, and we're like all sad and whatever. And this is exactly what I said is going to happen in that last fucking chapter is exactly what's going to happen in some way, shape, or form. Like, he is going to bust in with his confession, and our grandfather's going to be like, woo, Ichiya! And we're going to be like, wait, what? Oh, thank God. Thought we were going to marry to Kazuya, and Kazuya's going to be like, the hell? Like, you're right in your fucking face, bitch! Your goddamn blubbering mess of a brother right there and that fucking puddle of snot and tears? Yeah, that's my husband. Woo! It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time. He was definitely not someone I could call an ally, but I could say with 100% certainty that he'd always be on Spacey's side. The reply came back moments later.
If you're willing to give up everything you have, there might be a way after all.
Everything. My brow furrowed as I stared at the screen. I wasn't sure I knew what he was getting at. And that wasn't the end of Kasuga's message, though. It kept going.
If you can't bring yourself to, then perhaps you should withdraw while you can. But until you find your determination, I'll not permit you to return to this house. I forbid any contact with Spacey as well. That's all.
As I read, I started to see a faint hope glowing between the lines in his message. Till you find the determination. I flipped that around, and if I could just find the determination, then everything could work. Would work, sorry. Suga was Spacey's greatest ally, and he still hadn't given up on me. My heart had been on the verge of breaking, but that thought alone was enough to mend it back together, right? I know the thought of Kasuga always makes you feel better, doesn't it, Ichia, right? You, me, same. Ichia's over there like, Kasuga texted me and I suddenly felt better. Yeah, I mean, Kasuga shows up and I magically feel better, so I get it. I flipped open the contacts menu on my phone, scrolled to Spacey's entry, and then blocked her number. I needed to stifle the last tendrils of weakness in me. I pressed the off switch and tossed my phone to the back seat. I had to admit, doing that made me feel a lot better. I really have nothing left to lose. But I throw everything away for her. I thought I'd done as much ages ago, but it had become apparent that I was still clinging to my flaws. I didn't want her to hate me. I didn't want her to abandon me. I didn't even want to imagine a reality where that was possible. In some corner of my mind, I'd still been cowering. I'd still been making excuses to keep from getting hurt. Kasuga had just told me to throw away that last shadow of myself. There would be no other way to win Spacey's heart if I didn't. Ha! It was cruel. Horrible, terrible, and cruel. I mean, tearing my heart into ribbons just for the opportunity to grasp at love? And being told that I still hadn't done enough? Screw it. But I still loved her despite it all. I wanted Spacey. I wanted her no matter what it took. And to hell with it all! And this time, she would literally kill me. And the minute I realized that, I knew exactly what I wanted. Finally had my answer. Please don't go drown yourself or something weird. We're gonna, like, run away together and like, seriously? We're gonna all pretend that we're dead? We're gonna Romeo and Juliet this shit? Because that's bizarre. Anyway, without you, Ichi's crazy stunt causes a panic! After a long car chase, the two of us... We're not reading that now. I was like, okay, this is not, like, what I thought it was gonna be, but okay, I'm kind of curious now. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.